Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing episodes 5 and 6 of season 1 of the Buccaneers. Finally. How have you guys been? How's your summer going? How's your year going? It's been a while. It's been a while. Not like crazy long.
I promise it will not take 3 weeks ever again to get a new update out. Promise. Pinky swear. Okay.
Yes, crazy long. Okay, I'm really sorry. Let's talk about season 1, episode 5, Failed Betrayal. So, in this episode, everyone goes over to Guy's estate, and it's kind of like a Lost Boys type weekend. This weekend, basically, where they do boy activities like maze running and burning scarecrows at the stake and bonfires. I don't know what boy activities are actually. Anyway, it used to be a really big bash, like a ton of people were invited. It was a big deal annual party. But this time, Guy only invited a select few, naturally the characters that we have been watching for the last 4 episodes, plus a couple randos, and a lot happens. The first bad sign of this weekend is how empty the estate is and how everything's in disarray. And Guy claims that it's because they're renovating. Don't worry about it. And no one's here because I sent them away for a day off. Like, whatever he has to say to make people believe that everything is fine, everything's normal. But clearly nothing is normal. It looks a mess. And it's because his family has pretty much run out of money. His mom passed away. He's in a really bad place. It's actually really sad. And my first thought was like, why have the party at all, King? Save your coin. But he explains later that he just wanted that as a farewell, which is really sad. And I understand. I just wish he could have been open about that with these people who are supposed to be his friends, instead of having to hide that and lie and pretend that he was fine. Although what I will say about that is it seems like that had more to do with not wanting to accept help from other people and knowing that if he had been honest about what he was dealing with, they would have stepped in and tried to help. So I don't know if it was necessarily that he didn't want to open up as much as he just wasn't really going to be in a position to reject their help later. Unbeknownst to everyone, Theo invites Lady Jean Hopely from earlier this season. She's gorgeous. Happy to see her on my screen, obviously, but I felt so bad for her this whole episode. She's clearly not invited by Guy, and no one knew, least of all Guy, that she was coming. So she's just this like extra awkward guest who is supposed to be getting along with the host, even though the host didn't know she was coming and didn't make arrangements for her to feel comfortable there. Just mess. And the reason Theo did that was because he saw the letter, we'll talk about the letter later, but he saw the letter that Guy wrote to Nan, and now he's jealous, just so jealous, and green is not a good color on him. I have to say, it's just really awkward. It's just really awkward for all parties involved. But Lady Jean being there forces Nan in the seat of jealousy, because previously it was Guy, Nan, Theo triangle, where Nan is the center of the triangle, and Lady Jean's introduction makes Guy the center of this new triangle, and she does not react well to that at all, obviously also because she hasn't seen this letter. So in her mind, they're just picking up from the last time they were both in England. She doesn't know that something happened while she was in New York. Interesting seeing her jealous in that way, but then still coming to Jean's defense and still wanting her to be respected as a... I appreciate her consistency, at least so far, in terms of treating women with respect and seeing... She's just so different from her sister. All shade. When they're chopping wood together, Guy describes his ideal wife, and it's basically his mother, and he wants the marriage that his parents had, and it's very clear that like that's a dynamic that he and Nan have or could have if they were to get married. And then Nan is like, well, then you can't marry Jean because she's not your best friend, which is like, yeah, but she could be. Like, they haven't really given it a chance yet. I thought that was funny, but also important for the movement of the story, because then when she's talking to him about that, like, no, you can't marry Jean. You cannot marry Jean. He finally tells her about the telegram. Excuse me. The telegram. The telegram. It's the telegram. You didn't get the telegram. You didn't read the... You didn't see it. In it. I feel like if HBO is still casting for Harry Potter, they should give me a call. Just kidding. Guy and Lizzie have this talk, which is like good in terms of character development, movement, but still kind of random. I felt like they had pretty good chemistry. Allegedly, the actors were dating at the time, were dating after. Not sure about the timeline there, but it's funny because they feel like comfortable around each other for two characters that really haven't interacted on screen. It was just kind of like, oh, these two people are okay. I mean, I guess. I'm wondering if that dynamic will be readdressed or if that was just for convenience for this episode and then they're never going to speak again. We'll see. We'll see. I'd like them too. I like seeing them on screen. They're both so pretty. So I actually like both of those characters. Can't say the same about everybody. So yeah. Theo is such a, pardon my French, jackass to Guy the entire episode. And it's tough because you know exactly why. Like, you understand where that's coming from. You understand where the anger, the frustration, the rudeness is coming from. He read the telegram. He saw the telegram. He saw it. He read it. How would you feel if your childhood best friend wrote a letter across the pond to your fiance? Personally, I don't think I'd be a fan of that. I can't say I would react any better than Theo, so I'm not going to judge too harshly, but I do love Guy, so it was sad to watch because he's going through this, he's grieving, like actively mourning the loss of his mother and trying to get back to some sense of normalcy in the estate, at his estate. I don't know rich people prepositions. Every chance Theo gets, he pokes at that and like asks him questions that make him uncomfortable and say things that obviously put him off in front of Nan. The irony of that being he's also turning Nan off. So like he's thinking, oh, I'm this big bad. I can say whatever I want. Like, you shouldn't. This all comes to a head during the poker game that the three of them are playing. And I loved this because it was so obviously about the love triangle. Like, they didn't even try to make it sort of subtext. It was like, no, this is the text. We're just giving flat. This is exactly what's happening between the three of these characters. And so that was fun. I liked how Theo comes in cocky. He's gonna win because he always wins. And Guy wins at first, and you think, okay, maybe this means his luck is changing. So he starts celebrating because he thinks he's finally won. And then Nan says, I haven't put my cards down yet. Because she hasn't. She literally and figuratively hasn't. She's kind of been playing both sides. She doesn't have all of the information, but she has enough. Technically, she has more than either of them individually, so she is going to be the winner. That's how I interpreted that. I hope that's the case because I really like her and want her to win. What that means, I don't know. I don't know what winning looks like when you're engaged to a duke, but you're in love with his best friend who is penniless and needs access to your fortune, but can't tell you that because then you'll think it's not real because it is real for him. But Yeah, I don't know how you win there. Unless he dies. Theo. Not Guy. Guy has to live. Oh, I haven't spoken about James and Ginny yet this episode because it's tough. Lizzie is back in England, and that is very hard for James because he sucks and is attracted to her and likes manipulating her, and Lizzie is getting stronger and she's not as easy a target as she previously was. So they're playing this cat and mouse game, and it's really uncomfortable to watch, and I think that's a testament to the actress who plays Lizzie. Every little moment between them, it's all over her face, it's in her eyes. You can see how much his presence torments her and how much she's working to get over that while trying to be a friend to Ginny. And ultimately, and what we'll probably see for the rest of the season, is that Ginny's just going to keep choosing her husband. And at the end of the episode, he retaliates against her for that. Like, the fact that she spent the whole day with Lizzie instead of spending it with him. He locks her out of their bedroom that night after telling her that it was fine. After telling her it was all good, they were good. She goes to their room and it's locked, and she's sitting outside for God knows how long before he just unlocks it. It's just so incredibly abusive, and I am scared of what is to come for the rest of this season and next season as well. I think the only pair I haven't talked about yet is Honoria and Mabel. Their story is just so sad. It's just so sad. I don't know if there's much more I can say about that. Like, we haven't really seen Mabel get so upset and get so, or the way I'd correct that is upset on her own behalf. When she was talking to Honoria, and Honoria's like continuing the role play they had already previously established, and she freaks out on her. And it's clear in that moment, of course to us, not to Honoria, that Mabel is unhappy with the fact that they aren't not ever able to do this. Like, this can't be real. They can joke about it, they can giggle about it, they can do what they do in private, but that doesn't change the fact that they're never going to be accepted in their real lives and with their families. And that's tough for her because Honoria is just discovering this part of her identity, but Mabel has known this about herself for, I don't know if we know exactly how long, but it's been part of her identity for long enough that she knows she won't be accepted by her family. She knows exactly how her mother reacted. She knows exactly how her mother shut her down. And she's watching all of her childhood best friends, her sister, just be okay. They get to fall in love and fantasize and talk about the boys that they are interested in and not interested in anymore, and how marriage is going to feel, and love, what love feels like, and have these great grand romances on display. And she can only have these quiet moments, and that's all she can aspire to. Just sad. Okay. I feel like my lights are flickering. I don't know why that's happening. It's very inconvenient and unfortunate for me. I'm gonna go fix that.
Few moments later.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, the lights flickering were driving me insane. And it's gonna be very embarrassing if when I go to edit this video, you can't actually tell and it just looks like I'm yellow wallpapering. But I was losing my foot. It was crazy. So, I'm back. Christmas! It's Christmas? Was it called? I think it was called It's Christmas. Guy arrives with Jean in Scotland, so I don't know if they said how much time has passed in between the last episode and this one, but clearly they are more comfortable with each other if they're pulling up to parties, pulling up to functions one-on-one together. Okay. Guy's in this sweater that is so cute, but also feels like, were they wearing sweaters like that back then? Like, I feel like, I don't know, he looked like just himself, like the actor in this episode, because it just felt so modern to me. But I don't know anything about period accurate costuming, so I'm just yapping. Guy and Jean arrive in Scotland, and Theo asks guy to be his best man. How Jeremiah and Conrad of them. Weird, yucky scene where Freakazoid, man-child, what is his name? James Seaton is bathing Ginny, and hate it for a lot of reasons. Chief of them being that I have to look at him. And during the scene, we're seeing him actively plant seeds of doubt about how important her female relationships, specifically, that's what I personally feel like, female relationships in particular, but just relationships outside of their marriage, shouldn't be trusted, shouldn't be valued, shouldn't be put above their marriage, which is just abuse 101. So typical, like straight out of the playbook, but still just painful to watch. Also, is he bathing her for control, or is he bathing her because she's pregnant? I don't think they ever said anything. I feel like while I was watching, I was trying to notice if anything else she said or did in the episode might have pointed to her being pregnant or sick. I don't know, but I still thought that was odd. At one point, I thought he was waterboarding her, so, no. Pretty much right after that, there's this moment where Lizzie falls, and it's really not that big of a deal, but Seaton just drops everything and goes and wordlessly picks her up, like bridal style, and walks her back into the house and just drops her on her bed. And it's just so weird. And seeing how quickly Lizzie freezes up, like in the last episode, she was trying so hard to be strong around him and like not let him get to her. And then in this moment, he's broken this like unspoken barrier where they don't touch each other. Like, what he was doing to her, all of the ways he was making her uncomfortable, typically he wasn't actually breaking the physical barrier. And then this time, by picking her up before she even has time to process what's going on, freaks her out. She doesn't know where he's taking her. She doesn't know what he plans to do once he takes her where he's taking her. And so he doesn't even actually have to do anything. He's already tormented her in the act of picking her up and taking her away from her friends. And instead of Ginny thinking, that's odd, why are you touching my friend like that, it goes straight to victim blame mode. The whole time Lizzie was telling Ginny about what her husband did to her before they got engaged, I wanted to throw a pillow at the TV. Like, I was like, don't tell her, 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 don't tell her. She's just gonna probably blame you for it and then go tell him and make your life worse. And it just, I totally understand why she did it. She trusts her, that this is her best friend since like birth. And to imagine there would be a time where she would care more about what her husband thinks than what her best friend thinks after all this time, especially such a new husband who's so weird and off-putting. It's just, I understand why she opened up to her, but it still really broke my heart because she couldn't have handled it worse. And that is, she is an abuse victim, and I want to make sure that when I talk, I don't want to talk about Ginny and James's dynamic without making clear that the way she is behaving around him is also very typical of abuse victims. So it's not like this random lack of character on her part or something about who she is deep down that I'm talking about. We're just seeing the effects of abuse and manipulation play out on all of these characters. It's not because it goes beyond just the two in a marriage. It's everybody else they touch is affected by it. And when we get to the end of this episode, we see just how far-reaching James's abuse can be and his manipulation can go when the primary goal is isolating his wife and making sure she has no one to trust her, no one to fall back on, so that she has to lean on him at all times because there's no one else who can stand to be around her anymore. The last video I did, I think the last thing I talked about was what's going on between Richard and Miss Tess Valley, and they really don't touch on it in episode 5. I can't lie, I kind of forgot, and then we got to episode 6, and they're having this moment with baby Minnie, and I think he picks her up and he says, my little girl, but she says, our little treasure. And then she's like thrown by his paternal instinct to just be with her, like just be with his baby. That's his daughter, not theirs. And her saying our is just so icky and oh, so gross. So gross. And correct me if I'm wrong, but she knew him when he was that age, right? Like, she was taking care of his family and taking care of him when he was an infant. And then later, when Richard and Conchita are playing with their daughter, and it's just so cute. It's the three of them. They are the family. They're the family. Miss Tess Valley is standing outside the door listening in on them, which is just... No, fortunately, Honoria notices and she goes up to her and she doesn't ever explicitly, like, accuse Miss Tess Valley of anything or say anything about the relationship that she might have had with her brother, but she says enough that something gets through. And Miss Tess Valley ends up leaving by the end of the episode. It's pretty clear by the end that Richard is a victim of grooming, and to what extent his parents knew is still unclear, although based on what we know about them, I don't really see them being helpful, especially given that his younger sister did see a pattern. Despite being born into it, growing up in a household where this was happening, she still recognized that it was wrong. So if she could have picked up on it that young, then I highly, highly doubt their brother and their parents had no inkling of it. But obviously nothing was done because she's still there. She's literally up until this episode, taking care of his daughter. So just gross in so many ways. And it makes me wonder if anything happened to James, if James is acting the way he does as a victim of abuse himself. And if that's something that has already been talked about or hinted at that I missed, please let me know in the comment, because like I said, I haven't seen the first 4 episodes since last year, so it is pretty rusty for me, but I don't remember that being explicitly stated. Then Miles proposes to Mabel in front of everyone, and Honoria's heartbroken, which is sad because, like, obviously you'd be heartbroken. Obviously that would, but because we saw more of Mabel's thought process leading up to this, we know that this is so she can stay in England. We know that she wants to marry Miles so that she has the freedom to be with who she actually wants to be with. Honoria obviously doesn't know any of this. I wonder if/when they'll talk about it, how it can even come up. I don't know. If I were in her position, I don't think I'd want to go up to Mabel. I think I'd feel really confused and betrayed. So ready to see what happens there, how that plays out for them in the next 2 episodes of the season and future season. If this really is just an introduction for Honoria and she's going to find love elsewhere, I don't know. But I think that they're really good for each other, at least right now. So I hope that this isn't where things end for these 2 characters in this season. Okay, and then there's this whole cluster fudge of actions taken by characters. Why am I being vague? The last big thing I wanted to talk about in this video was, I guess I'll start at the beginning. Seaton saying to Ginny, you need to prove your love to me, like you need to prove your affection, like she hasn't already in a million ways. And we don't see her do that. What we do see is her immediately getting into bed with Nan. And in that moment, I knew either she just ruined Nan's life or she chose not to prove her love for him. But given what we've seen happen so far with this character, it was pretty safe bet that it was the former. Turns out she tells her husband the biggest family secret they have, that Nan's illegitimate, And what does he do? He goes straight to Theo's mom and tells her, hey, you can't let your son marry Nan. Everybody's been lying to you guys. Pick me, choose me, love me. And so Theo's mom pretty much immediately kicks Nan out of the house and says, you can't marry my son. I never want to see you again, which is so sad because while I can understand, respect, appreciate, whatever, what it means to be a duke or duchess in this time and their proximity to royalty, none of this is her fault. I do recognize that the way Seaton probably brought this up with Theo's mother was like, Nan has been intentionally deceiving you, when in reality she was already pretty far along in courting when she found out. So it wasn't like this secret she's intentionally trying to hide. She's trying to trap a husband. If anything, and like she says, she was relieved when she found out she couldn't marry the Duke anymore. So it's just really sad how that plays out. But then the fact that Theo still says, no, I want to be with you. I don't care. I don't care. I'm in love with you. I still want to marry you. That would be romantic and beautiful if she wasn't staring at the door the entire time, hoping that Guy would swoop in and save her from Duchess life. So I don't know. I don't feel like people who have commented on my previous videos have said anything about rooting for Theo and Nan. If you do, let me know what you were thinking at this point, because I just feel like the show makes it so clear that what Guy and Nan have is special and doesn't compare to the other ships. So that would just, I don't know, if I were rooting for the two of them, I'd be pissed off if in this love declaration it's tainted by her literally hoping that Guy interrupts. Yeah. I guess the last thing I'll say is Richard and James are interestingly contrasted in this episode. James's whole, like, you need to prove your affection to me, you need to prove your love to me, is manipulative, versus Richard, who is trying to make his marriage with Conchita work, and instead of saying, you need to, whatever, he's saying, I need to, I want to show up for you, I want to be the man that you deserve. And it's just such a good way of showing us the difference between those two marriages, and that even though they're both flawed, Conchita and Richard have what it takes to last. And I just want Ginny as far away from that demon man-child as possible. I'm
finding it. It take you that long to find it? It does.
I think that he should not be alive. If you're still here, thank you so much for talking to me about episodes 5 and 6. I'm so excited to talk to you about them in the comments. Please let me know what you thought about these episodes and what you were looking forward to. No spoilers, please, in episode 7 and 8 as we look forward to season 2. And if you feel like it would be better to have shorter 1-episode videos instead of putting the 2 together, let me know in the comments too. I was trying to do 2s at least for now so we can get to season 2 as quickly as possible, but I'm open to your thoughts. So let me know what you think. I want to make these videos enjoyable for you, and I want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you guys. So let me know what you thought, and I hope to see you very soon with episodes 7 and 8, and then we're on to season 2. Mwah! Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.